Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year. So, for those of you guys who remember my very first video, the planner flip through, I had my Aura Estelle B6 daily in a Aura Estelle cover, and I set aside the cover around October because this planner was getting way too chunky to carry around in this cover. Now, there is plenty of room, especially if you adjust your straps, because the really nice thing about this cover is the adjustable straps. So if you were to keep this planner at home, I'm sure it would have been just fine, but putting it in a planner like bag, it wouldn't fit very well. So I took it out and I was carrying around this planner the way that she is. Now, I didn't finish this planner, as you can see, what I didn't use, because I actually started this planner in May rather than the beginning of the year. Now, in the beginning of the year, I was using just a regular planner from Target. I was an Erin Condren girly for a very long time, and I stopped getting an Erin Condren and started doing ring planners. So, or still A5 wide was the size that I really liked. And then within this year, I decided I wanted to try out the book-bound planner, and I've come to love book-bound planners. So this cover here is a Lauren Phelps design cover in the B6 size. I just have a picture of me and my husband on our wedding day, which was 5/22 of 22. And then I have my name here and some stickers that my daughter had. This kind of moved around. I didn't really tape it down very well, but then my daughter, I just have this picture from the beginning of the year of my daughter. And then in this section, I have my planner belongs to, and then my name. I used a name like tag thing here. I had some sticky notes. And then I had a sticky pocket because my daughter decided to get into my stickers and I didn't want it to go to waste. So I stuck it there. And then here I also put these down because I didn't want them to go to waste either, even though I had started this in May. So I didn't have a use for those. In this area, I tried to do like a period tracker sort of thing, but because I was pregnant for most of the year, I didn't need majority of this. So that was kind of a fail. But in this area, this was my habit tracking. I really like how this turned out, but I definitely won't be doing all of the colors for my 2024 planner. I think it's cute and I kind of fell off the boat over here. But anyway, these are my monthlies. I kind of threw this one together. No sticker kits or anything like that, just some washi and some stickers that I had. This is June. I love June spread. I love the tropical, like planty theme here. And then I went into the Coffee Monster Co kits for July through December. August, my daughter Kinsey was born, and then shortly after, baby Kyrie was born, which is my nephew. So that was really cool. He was actually supposed to be born in September, like towards the end of September, I think. I don't know, they were supposed to be about a month apart. So actually, no, it'd be the beginning of September. But he was born early due to his size. So, and then we get into September. I love the brown tones in this one. I thought it was fun. I don't really have a whole lot going on in my monthly spreads, but I still think they all turned out really, really cute. We had a spooktacular baby shower on the 14th for Kinsey, so everybody can meet Kinsey. And then November here, Thanksgiving, and then December is the one we are currently on. I haven't really kept up to date on this in the past few weeks, but I did pay my car payment. I just never checked that off. And then these months will probably just go unused because I am going to start the year off in a new planner starting in January rather than one that starts in May. So then we started off here. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I did like the vertical timed layout. That's kind of what I wanted with the new planner. I did it with my rings, so that was for sure going to be in here. I also wanted a space for daily reflections, so I did that here. And then I had all of this space to like do with what I pleased. And I was very lost. I didn't know what to do. Um, I put a to-do list over here, and then I would do some doodles here and there, but overall, I really didn't know how I was going to continue this because it just felt like there was so much room and I didn't know what to do with it. So then we get into this week where I made the reflections just a little bit bigger. I always put like a little note about, work or what happened during work or just a highlight of my day right there in those boxes. I got the sleep trackers from the idea for sleep trackers from Helen. Um, so I was doing that for a while. I was also tracking how many weeks I was. And yeah, so I would start putting like highlights over here on the side as well, the to-do list. And I just felt like I was running out of ideas for how to fill this space. This was a day that I just felt so overwhelmed. I couldn't do it. I couldn't think about putting other things down. And so I just wrote in really big letters. So that is how I did that. Um, and then sometimes I would throw in a full box just to try to take up some space. So then during this spread or this week's spread, I gave myself an even bigger spot to start journaling. And I also tried to doodle a little bit more. I like how this one came through. I was also testing out some stamps over here to see if they would bleed through. They kind of did, but you couldn't really tell after I wrote in that area anyway. So this was kind of a fun theme. It was just very neutral with like a pop of color, that blue in there. I don't remember if this was our 1 year anniversary, and I liked how this turned out. It's a lot of pink. I'm not the biggest fan of pink, so I only did a lot of pink because of the kit that I used, but I still think it ended up looking really cute. So I'm excited to be in a weekly planner now so I can get this sort of spread all in one page for the week and then still have space for journaling in the new planner. But that's what it would look like if you did a vertical kit throughout every single one of the days. So if you guys have this planner, you could totally do that. And then here's when I gave myself even more room to journal and then write my to-dos. And I felt like I was actually handling the increase in journaling a lot better than I thought I would. But I think this week I was 28 weeks pregnant, so we were getting into summertime. I kind of did like a flip-flopping theme here where it only matched the opposite ones. I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. And I liked this coffee theme one. This was really nice. Love the neutrals. Some days I would have more journaling space because I would have less to-dos. That worked out really nice. Like no to-dos, just take time for yourself. I was 30 weeks here, so we were getting Getting into June, I put a note, don't forget June pre-order starts the 17th through the 23rd. I did test out some inks, but most of my ink started to like transfer onto these stickers because it got so warm out. So that wasn't fun, but I gotta find a ink that's way more waterproof than anything else. But I also don't want to risk clogging my nib either. So if you have any ideas, let me know. This was a Father's Day. So I wrote a note on here, Happy Father's Day, Gage. 31 weeks. This was a self-care week for sure. Loved how this one turned out. And I think this is when I started going weekly to my appointments. I'm not really sure. Less than 8 weeks left. I love these highlights. If I look through them all, I could see this had to have been July 1st. So going to my niece's birthday party here. Did like a cabin crawl, so we'd go to everybody's cabin and eat and play a game, and then go to somebody else's cabin, eat and play a game. It was fun. Lots of good memories. This was 4th of July. I was taking cold showers because it was so hot that I couldn't handle it. Me and my pregnancy were like, nope, not having it. So we would basically freeze our butt off in a shower just because it was so hot. Loving this. This was my birthday week. My birthday was on the 12th, so I had my birthday page here. I actually really liked how this turned out. I'm not a big yellow person, but with the green, it really went well together. I loved that. But this is kind of how I liked my layout while I was doing that. I did my own numbers, and then I always put like a washi tape or something here to block off my like timed part of the day, and then just my journaling or my reflections. And then we were getting really, really, really close to when Kinsey was born. I was 35 weeks, less than 5 weeks left. So I am capable. I love the blue theme. Blue is one of my favorite colors. So this was a fun one too. And then I started writing like how dilated I was, and um, what did HB stand for? Now I can't remember. Oh, heartbeat. Duh. That's dumb. That's a blonde moment right there. And then I started to have contractions during this time where I was constantly wondering if I was going to head to the hospital. Um, yeah, so maybe it's been the lack of sleep, the heat, who knows? All I know is it's been a rough week and it's only Wednesday. Oh. I remember at some point in here, my car did not have AC for majority of the summer, and it actually got fixed while I was in labor, and then my husband was able to go get it right after my birth. But I don't remember if I wrote that in here. Oh yeah, so bought my stuff to do an oil change, and then Adam came by to fix the harness. So my AC works again, and then it stopped working. Yep, on my way to work again, my sensor stopped working. So my ride home from work was not as cool. Well, not so cool at all. My work boots also gave up on me today. Oh, this is rough. This was very rough. This is the 4th. Did the oil change then. We did Christmas in August out at my mom's, like my parents' summer home thing. Lab mode, ready for baby K. This was Helen's birthday sale. Can't forget that. And then I think we're getting real close. Yeah, 38 weeks, almost the finish line. So I was 4 centimeters dilated, 70% effaced at this point. I was still working, and the place that I work does not have AC, or it does, but it's never really on. And then in the area that I work by really hot tanks, so there's no airflow whatsoever in the building. But anyway, so then we get into this day, today, or this Friday the 11th, and I was planning on going back and adding to it, but I didn't. Saturday rolled around and I wanted to go mow the lawn, so I push mowed like the front portion of the lawn, and the next day, Sunday morning, Kinsey was born. So I have journaled. I went back and I journaled. If you guys see my flip through at the beginning, I didn't. I had this all blank, but I wanted to go back and journal about it so that I could look back at it. And then so I added our little family picture, and then me, Kinsey, and Kalani here on our day home, because I had her on Sunday, early morning. And then Monday, we were able to go home. So if you guys wanted to read that, you guys totally could. But then we get into this day where I just was trying to figure it all out. And then on Thursday, I was able to sort of figure out how I wanted things. And then Friday, like this layout kind of stuck. This is how I wanted it. I was recording my wet and dirties, my feeding logs, and then my journaling time with my to-dos. So I kind of lost some of my journaling space, but it wasn't too bad. I was getting really creative. I loved that. I know this is all blue, but she's a girl, I promise. And then I loved the coffee theme, so I was switching themes every 2 days. And then this one was a little planner friend that sent me a washi or washies, and then I sent her some washies, and she's from London. She knows who she is. She actually watches my channel. So, hello if you're watching. And then yeah, so then we get into this. I still didn't know how I wanted to do this side of the layout, but everything, was still going good as far as these went. Little heartbeat. I can't think of what that's called, but I loved that. That was fun. We had a bunch of doctor's appointments here, and Kyrie was born here. I like the little vine theme here. You guys can get super creative in this planner, and I love that about it. With this one, I kind of stuck to the theme of the biome washi. That was fun. Thought that was a lot of fun. Then I went with a black and white theme. Love that. I didn't journal as much on this day, but Oh well. And I got Canon Ivy. So my very first picture I wanted to put in here was the four of us. Perfect memory to look back at. Some days I would not journal as much. Most of the time I had a lot to say, so I wrote a lot. But then I started to no longer need all of the space for the feeding log. So you'll see soon that I shortened that up a little bit. Kinsey turned 1 month, so I did a really cute layout for her. And of course, I had to put my oldest in there as well. But this was not fun. I didn't have a ton of journaling space for all this. And a little family here. Love that. Something about I was able to film my first YouTube video. Ooh, in months. I'm hoping to edit and upload today. Oh, so I'm wondering. Oh, and I'm really wanting to start a planning channel too. Oh, I must not have started my planning channel yet. Wow. I didn't know that I didn't start it yet. That's cool to look back on. So yeah, here you can see I started to shorten up my feeding log so I could journal more because I had a lot to say, you guys. I even tested out stamps to kind of say whether or not they're wet or dirty. So that was fun. Oh, yep. So I must have started my YouTube channel this week because I put on their film. See, I like the little emojis. They kind of highlight something important that day. Did a shopping list here and then, you know, the to-do list there. This was a very colorful theme. And then I went ahead and did a theme catered to Helen's washi for her birthday because I had received that, I think, just before this setup. And I forgot to put wet and dirty. So I made that right there. Right here, wet and dirties. This was fun. I loved the pet tape that I was using. I'm pretty sure you guys saw these spreads. I'm not sure. Maybe this one for sure. I know for sure you guys saw this spread. We set this up, but this is how that one ended up looking like. And I went back and forth between writing in cursive and writing just regular. And I don't really have a preference. I think this looks really pretty, but sometimes it's harder for me to read when I go back at it, when I go back and look at it. This one was a cool one. I did a packing list here. Kinsey's 2 months old on this day, and then I got a picture there. I think, oh yeah, this was the spooktacular baby shower. And then we get into this theme, which was the villains theme. Sorry about that. I made puppy chow. That was fun. And then the girls right here in their pumpkin. That was cute. I started to epically fail at the feeding log. So I wrote that here. I didn't even notice it as I was, you know, flipping pages, but I tried to do it again and I failed, I believe, again. I did a sulfur treatment on my um, Hoyas this day. So if you guys have a plant, um, if you guys are into plants, you can check out my plant channel. It's always linked in the description box if you want to see that. And I did make a YouTube video for that. Did my first pot roast here. That was good. I highlighted that. See, I've been failing at the feeding log. But I was also trying to get like the whole bottles down and whatnot. So yeah, right here, 13 ounces. This was such a challenge, you guys. Trying to do bottles and breastfeed was very crazy. Girls on Halloween, Kalani and my niece, and then Kalani and the pumpkin because it was freezing outside. I didn't take Kinsey out of the car. My older sister walked around with Anna and her. This was a picture of Kinsey and Kyrie. So they are 2 weeks apart, which is super cool. Kinsey's ham compared to Kyrie, though. Kinsey giggled for the first time on this day. This was my last day off, so I really didn't journal a whole lot because I was trying to spend as much time as I could with my family on that Sunday. And then this was the first week going back to work. I really like how this spread turned out. I think this was also my very first Sterling Ink subscription because I didn't have one for last month, but I was also testing out brown ink here and I liked how that looked. I was also writing in how many ounces I collected at work and how many ounces she fed. So I was doing pretty good at the start. And then it all became quite overwhelming. And Sunday and Saturdays, I didn't, do that because I was not bottle feeding her while I was at home. But yeah, at some point, my milk started to drop drastically, and it was very scary. This was the day that Kinsey turned 3 months, I believe. November, yeah, 3 months. And I didn't have space here to put in a picture, so I did on the next day. I didn't really have time to take a picture on the 13th anyway. But yeah, so some days I just wouldn't write down a to-do list, and that kind of continues onto the next. I tried a work graph, and that was pointless. It was really dumb. I don't know why I tried it. And I was not very good at journaling, but I get better, I promise. It will look better soon. I had all of this empty space, but that's okay. Then we get into this. This week I really liked because of the neutrals with the olive green. It's one of my favorite colors. So that was fun. Don't cry over spilled milk. I had dropped one of my milk bags in the break room at work and it just exploded. It was awful. This is Friday. We were at my mother-in-law's house and I forgot the pack and play, so that was a fun one. This was my husband's military party that they do right around Christmas time. So I had a lot of fun. It was supposed to be a ball theme and I failed. I was wearing a cocktail dress. I mean, it looks nice, but it was not ball theme whatsoever. And I got the memo too late. And then this is the December one and how that ended up looking like with the Sterling Ink subscription. This was fun. Did I start the milk tracker that way? No, not that way. Oh yeah, this is when I started the milk tracker in a graph form, and I really like how that looked. It was kind of confusing when I used two different colors, but this way looks really nice. So you guys can see kind of how I was tracking my milk based on ounces. Kinsey was always the colored, and I was always the black lines. So this one was a fun spread. I really like how that turned out. I also tried a stamp with a different color rather than black. And then I also started my countdown to Christmas. So that is how this week turned out. Oh, I don't like me doing that. And then another sleep tracker with another milk tracker. I love the cows. I can't get over the cows. It's just so cute. I had to order a coffee grinder because I sent my husband for coffee and he comes back with whole beans. So I had to write order coffee grinder. Oh, I love him. I didn't have one, but now I do. Um, I got 20 ounces that day. That was this day. I was literally spelling everything wrong. So don't even look here. This was bad. And then I just didn't have time to journal that day. Girls had their Christmas program this day, so I got a really cute picture, but I had a clogged milk duct, so I was in a lot of pain during the whole thing, but I enjoyed it. It was fun. And then Kinsey also got it out by the end of the night because Friday I went to work and everything was good. I got my family's yearly Christmas picture because we had our Christmas party on the 16th, that Saturday. And then Sunday, man, I don't even look at my spelling. It's awful. I just can like pick out words and like I spelled that wrong. Oh, I had a fail here with my graph, but it's okay. Kinsey had a doctor's appointment here. So she went to the doctor's that day. This day we drove to my mother-in-law's. Kinsey also finally rolled over from the back to the belly. So she had rolled over from her belly to her back at some point this month, and I know I wrote it in there, but this one was the big one because it's a lot harder to get from your back to your belly. So that was really exciting seeing her do that. But I was also in a lot of pain because I had another clogged milk that day. And then all weekend she had kept me up, and I was going to put some stickers here. So that's why there's space left over because I just didn't have the stickers in my to go like sticker book thing. So I kept some space there, but we had a bonfire that day. That was a lot of fun. It was so warm out for where we live. It was shocking. We had a bonfire like on the day before Christmas Eve. Who does that? We did that. That was fun. And then we get into the last week of the year, and I made it all Christmas themed because I thought, why not? Might as well. And so I got a little list here of the things that I got for Christmas so that I can remember. And then I just journaled a bit. We had a very busy Christmas day. It was a lot of fun. Then we celebrated our fake Christmas at home on the Tuesday after Christmas. So I got a little picture of the girls here. They looked so cute. This was our little family Christmas picture in front of my mother-in-law's tree. It was super fun. And then Kinsey laughed for the first time, and I was so mad that I wasn't able to call my husband or record it so that he could hear it. But then I haven't been able to get her to laugh since. So, because she giggled before, but she actually laughed like I could, yeah, I had tears in my eyes that day. My Christmas gift arrived this day. And then I wrote in the wrong spot. So I designated this area for my to-dos and I started writing my to-dos here. So that was an oops. But that's how Friday turned out. And then Saturday, I got a microphone for my YouTube videos from my husband that came in the mail. That was one of my Christmas gifts. And then Kinsey has a tooth trying to come through. So we've been dealing with lack of sleep for quite some time now. And then today, I changed the sheets, I got everything ready, and I feel very refreshed to start the new year. So, yeah. And then I went into this area and I just started to brain dump everything that I felt. If I needed more journaling space, like this day in particular, I had a lot to journal about. Yeah. And then I had my 2024 planner goals. Yeah. And then I tried to do the goal breakdown for the common planner and I couldn't make it work. So I bailed on that. And then I tried more stamps here with the VersaFine Onyx Black stamp with a little coffee cup. Super cute. But the VersaFine bleeds through unless you stamp somewhere else and then stamp it on, and then it doesn't look so bad. And then I have all of this empty space here, I believe. Yep. And then we get into, just me rewriting things to practice more planner plans or a brain dump of my planner plans, what I want to use it for and how I was going to use it. Then I have just washi samples back here from some of the washi tapes that I received this year. So I liked that. And then a blank spot. I did my Tombow brush pens, the whole lot of them. I even kind of color coordinated them as best as I could by just looking at the top. So like these ones threw me off, but this was another stamp test with an old stamp pad that I had. Same with this one. And then these were just the very few that I started with, but then I wanted to kind of color coordinate them better once I had a few more. And then I just had pen tests here. I have my Zero Mild liners right here. My Twisby Eco, and then I had it inked with the Diamine Onyx Black, and then I changed it to the Noodler's Black at one point because this one was like if I just rubbed on it wrong, it would smear. And it was dry. It was just I was so sweaty that it would literally swipe everywhere. Then I just had another ink test here, and then this is when my pen started to fail on me. So I would write here until it would work. And then this is where I just kind of went like that a couple of times. I don't know. What a mess. Then my daughter writing out her name here. That was fun in pencils. And then, of course, my sticker stash in the back with a sample of washi. And that is it. I hope you guys enjoyed this very long video. In my opinion, I feel like I talked for forever. And then in some spots, I felt like I didn't talk enough. But I hope this gave you kind of a gist on how I used this planner this year. And I am so excited to be in the common planner for this year. So we'll see how that goes. But this planner is definitely one that if I hated my new planner, I would definitely come back to this one. So if you did end up purchasing a or Estelle B6 daily, I'm sure you guys are going to love it. And I hope you guys do. And I hope this gave you guys a bunch of ideas on how I used it, and if it's something that you guys would like to throw into your planner spreads. But yeah, so Happy New Year, everybody, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.